Guys awake? I mean, I know you are. I'm always late. Guys are awake. Lots of stuff going on this weekend. Oh, and yeah, there's a dildo on the cover. Did you guys notice that? It's an Irish dildo. Although, there's possibility it's actually a British dildo, but it belonged to a one percenter in Ireland. It's a great story that goes along with this. We can talk about that. The Great American Dicking, everybody. It's what you're getting. It's what's happening right now. Look at this. Yeah, I know, real jingy. Look at it's a replica of this man. No, I don't have no idea. I bet he thinks it is. The story of that cover. That's from Matthew's auction room. That is a ridiculous story from RT News. And I know you guys can tell me that it's RT News and it could be fake. And if it is fake, who cares? It's too good of a story. Right? Sometimes fake news is good. I don't think it's fake. It's what they did in Victorian era when you had some cash and you just killed yourself an elephant over in Africa and you want to send your wife a gift because you spend your time out in Africa and you're like, here's a dildo. Looks just like me. Love you, honey. That's what this is. But a rock star dildo of your choice. Yeah, kind of like, and I don't know if you guys were aware, but in 1970s, the Steely Dan was a very popular dildo, which was where the name of the band came from. And today we have who's the big famous, you got Markus is laughing about, the famous guy, huge famous porn star. He's got immortalized. They did a cast of his dick, and you can get that one, which I think looks about like that. It's pretty ridiculous. But yeah, that's elephant. What you can do with elephant ivory when you've got some bucks. Think he posed for that? I don't know. It looks really yucky. Listen, you got no TV. You got really nothing to do. You're a wife in Victorian era. You're sitting at home. Ta-da! No batteries yet. that's. You'd be appreciating it too, Lynn. If it was in your time era, I'm just saying, you would. And your husband was off shooting shit in Africa, you'd be like, yes, please. Thank you. And I don't know. Not really. All right. So, the reason this is so important, before we bring Markus on and say good morning, everybody, but I just want to tie in the reason I use this as a cover. It's really not relevant to anything. It's a tool. And I wanted to remind everybody that tools can look pretty. Tools can look weird and whatnot and be carved out of all sorts of things. But if they're not in our hands, they're useless. This dildo does nothing for you unless it's in your hands and in your control. Out of your hands and your control, somebody could beat the fuck out of you with it, right? Otherwise, it just sits in the box, right? It can be dangerous if it's not in your hands to be used the way you want to use this dildo. It's a tool, just like every rep we have. They're dildos. They're tools, right? And when they're not in our hands and our control, they're dangerous, or they can be, right? So I just want to remind everybody that we need to get our dildos back in our hands. There's the analogy for today. Good morning, Phil and Bernice and Manic and Real Jingy and Stock and Kat and Melissa and John and Steve and Brom, Froze. How's it all in here? Lots of people. And I'm sure I missed a whole bunch of people. Louise, good morning. We do have Markus, the Burnin' German, with us. Good morning, Markus. How you doing today?
Good morning, John. I'm fine, and as usual, good morning, America. And by the way, nice opening.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. It's yeah. So, Markus, before we get into all the other things, we do have John's quote of the day is which the Great American. I don't even know. We do have something going on over there in France, right? And we've brought Katie with us. To update us. I'm going to let the two of you talk about what's going on, but I'm going to give you my American summary, everybody. Basically, what it looks like is the female version of 45, and something sort of like Hillary with morals are going after. They're the final choices here. That's my take, and I don't think any of it's going to matter because we're about to go to war with North Korea, and that's going to change everything. Here to make sense of any of that bullshit is Marcus and Katie. Katie, how you doing over there? How's it going?
Hi.
Good to see you. So tell us, tell, I was just making shit up. Tell us what's really going on. How close am I on those two people, right?
Close enough. Um, Macron doesn't have all of the baggage that came with Hillary, but he's no innocent. He was one of the people, one of a group of people who were responsible for a lot of money going towards a responsibility pact, which meant it didn't get invested in jobs, which basically could have created 1 million jobs. And it just went up in smoke. The big companies, what was it Bernie called it? Social security for the rich. Well,
Yes.
was that kind of an idea. And he was behind that, but apparently he wasn't. It had nothing to do with him. Clear.
All right,
Clear.
all right. So who do you favor in this? I mean, you don't favor Le Pen, but I mean, are you a Macron voter now because the only logical choice?
Well, I can't vote, but I
Right.
would have to vote Macron, unfortunately, because Le Pen is seriously dangerous. She's I would think, behind the scenes, far more racist than Five is. And she's too smart to show it openly. And I don't believe all that crap about firing her father, because, yeah, they did so to make it look good, I think. He denied the Holocaust and other things like that, so she had to get him out of the picture. But her niece, another Le Pen, Marion, she's the same. And she's also, by the way, an elite with inherited wealth, etc. Yeah, it's the
Interesting.
same picture, but she's dangerous because she's smarter.
Right. Yeah. I get that, and I think Marcus agrees with you. But you guys find some differences with Macron, right? Like Marcus seems to have a little higher hopes than you do, or at least that's the way I'm reading it. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Yes.
He is pro-European, but basically I think it's just we bought ourselves some time if we get Macron, but we'll have the same result, possibly even worse, in 5 years' time. And for FN, the Front National, her party, they got 1.2 million votes more this time around, and it's just going to keep going up. And by the way, just like in 2008 when Obama had everything with him, the socialists had in 2012. And what do we get next time around? A fascist candidate.
All right. So, yeah. Response, Marcus. Thoughts?
Yeah.
feelings?
Okay. First of all, what Le Pen concerns, I absolutely agree with Katie, because I see she's a very big danger for Europe, and not only for Europe but for our own country. I see her a kind of neo-Nazi. I see her as an extreme right winger in some parts of her policies or what she wants to do. And by the way, she doesn't explain how she wants to pay for all the good deeds she wants to do to her voters and to her clients, I would say. Another thing is Macron, and here I'm a bit more optimistic than Katie is, because I think Europe, the European leaders have to wake up after this election, because we see what is going on in Europe. We have a right-wing government in Poland. We have a right-wing government in Hungary right now. We have the problem in Netherlands. Okay, it was the Wilders did not succeed, and it is more time. Here I agree with Katie, because they have to wake up. They cannot go on with the policy in Europe they did until today. We cannot go on treating Greece like we did in the past. We cannot go on treating Italy or Spain like in the past. These are weaker countries economically. We have to accept it. We have to ask ourselves, are we Europeans or are we not? This means the European policy has to be changed. If not, and there I agree with Katie again, the next election in France and in many, many other European countries would be extremely right-wing. And this would be the downfall of Europe for good.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Yeah. So that's. I mean, difficult situation there. And we're about to go to war, so it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. I mean, I'm looking at everybody in the comments who are talking about it. They called Mélenchon a communist in the paper. What were you guys saying
Yeah.
up here? Where's it? I mean, that's a typical slant of anybody in,
They
socialist.
spent Saturday putting nasty stories in the big newspapers in France about him. Not nasty, but, planting doubts, plenty of them. And by the way, the Communist Party of France, along with Fillon and Macron and Hamon, have all called to vote for Macron.
Right.
The Communist Party, imagine, they said it's such a serious situation that we have to. And Hamon said something nice. He first pointed out one thing. He said, Macron is not from the left, and he's right. But he said there's a clear distinction between a political adversary and an enemy of the Republic.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he told them to vote Macron.
Yeah. Go ahead, Marcus.
I completely agree. And coming back to Europe and the future of Europe, I think if the European leaders realize what's going on here, I think especially the axis Berlin, Paris, Germany, and France. I think here we have to start to change the system, and to change the system for all European citizens. And I think that I'm thinking that Merkel will win the election in September. And I think it would be easier for Macron and Merkel to work together than before, because Merkel would have to support and his policy as a self-defense to keep Europe united. And some of Macron's plans are not only economy-based or business oriented. He has also very good plans, in my opinion, for the weakest in the French society. He wants to support the poorest families in the society. He wants to build up the education system. He says every child here in France has the right to learn to read, to learn to write, to learn to do mathematics, etc. He is a strong supporter of education, and he says about himself, "I'm stealing from the left and I'm stealing from the right because I want the best from both." We can discuss about his plans to increase police, etc. But I think you got to see it in complete. And in my opinion, he can be a game changer for France. And together with Merkel, I think there's a good chance
Good chance what? We lost you there for the last part.
That Europe will change with the axis with Merkel in Berlin and Macron in Paris, because these two countries are the motor of European until now.
Well, I hope. I'm just worried because under Hollande and as Minister of the Economy, or whatever it's called, he dismantled, Macron, many labor laws, and he wants to move further in that direction. So it's nice to say he wants to look after education and the poor, or the environment. But remember, Obama promised to look after the environment. I don't know where fracking fit into that. I know he may have done some good things, but maybe it's just
and there's
side.
And exactly, there is a similarity with the US system, where a candidate comes to the White House, comes to presidency, and has to build up all the apparatus, all the people he needs to get the machine running. The same is happening with Macron. I'm curious to see who he picks to get the machine in France running, because the established parties are out, and this is a novum in France.
Yeah. Well, that's true, but I kind of feel like it was a bit of they didn't get Valls in because the people voted against him in the debate between Hamon and himself, probably or possibly partly because they wanted to get back at Hollande's government for what they didn't do for them. So they voted Valls out. Hamon came in. The establishment thought, blast it, that's not what we wanted. And then suddenly you have them all secretly backing Macron, so that you still end up with an establishment candidate, even if it's not with the backing officially of the party. They still got their guy in there. So you still end up with the fascist or the establishment character. But the thing is, again, like Donald Trump, he has never been elected to office before. He's coming in a total novice. Now, he's backing. He has some sort of
Minister for
education and
Finances.
everything behind it. But
What was that, Marcus? Hang on. What was that, Marcus?
Macron was for a period, I think a quite short period, Minister for Finances in France.
yeah, I don't know about finance, but economics anyway, or the
Yes,
economy.
and he left because he was not fine with the politics of Hollande.
Maybe he was too left. But do you know, I'm not suggesting he is, but Hollande's father, by the way, was extreme right years ago, apparently. His mother was a committed socialist and his father was the opposite direction, just as a, by the way.
Interesting.
But I think he
All
just
right.
got in and he found he couldn't do anything.
2 minutes.
And
You got 2
Okay.
minutes to wrap this up. So here's my question. Here's my question.
Yes.
Right,
Yep.
to both of you. What happens if Le Pen wins? What happens if Macron wins? What happens? And who do you think is going to win? That's the last one. What happens if either wins? Who's going to win? Katie
I
first.
think Macron will win because I think that people are more aware in France of the danger than maybe everybody was in the States. However, one way or the other, the markets win, and they have already done so. They're happy with both candidates. We'll see. But if Le Pen were to win, that would be very serious. So I'd be reporting from Luxembourg.
You'd be getting out of town, huh? And Marcus, what do you think?
Yeah, I say Macron wins for the same reasons Katie said. They are aware of the danger a Le Pen government would mean to France, and if she would win, it would mean the end for Europe, and this would weaken every country, every European country.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, if I hear this, it sounds like there's a potential for Macron if Macron wins. And it sounds like you guys are hopeful based on the big push with the kind of unification, something we didn't see over here in the States with the Democratic Party and other people, unification against Trump. We kind of saw, oh, what can I get out of everybody? Over there, it's like they recognize the danger that is Le Pen. And which is interesting because, Katie, you said the danger in Le Pen was more overt or covert. I'm sorry, was more, like she knows how to keep her from looking.
Yeah.
But over here, we've got this guy literally shitting on himself every day, and Americans are like, it's fine. Right, it's just the different. So all right, so it's interesting. There's a chance here that Macron can be good, like Hillary supporters thought. Well, she can get in and do good things, even though she's got a history of not. Macron might, right?
It'll give the left time to build up. What did happen that was good was there were about 37 million people voting. And between Mélenchon and Macron, whom I consider to be the true left between them, they got 9.3 million votes, I think. And that would be very important if they can channel all that energy and all those votes into the legislative elections in June. Then you could have a very progressive Assemblée Nationale, which is the Congress. And that would be brilliant. And it's far less complicated to do that than it is in the States.
All right. That's hopeful.
Okay.
When is your election? When's your big election? What, Marcus? What?
The big election is on the 7th of May in 2 weeks. And for me, to close it, there's a question from Melissa. Are the people in France excited to be voting? Or is it like America where many people held their nose and voted for HRZ? I think Macron has a very enthusiastic voter base, and the general audience would favor Macron, of course, over Le Pen. Some will hold their noses, but I think the majority says, okay, we will give him a chance.
Yeah, except in this area, there's a great big chunk, a huge big piece of France, the Great East, they call it now, going from the north, just above Paris, right down to nearly Switzerland. And I am in the middle. All the villages around here voted massively for her and for other right-wing candidates. In this village, 80% voted right, or including the 20% that went to Macron around here.
Wow, that's frightening.
The other 60 were to the right. So 80% voted center-right and further right.
How much of the voter base is that far east, whatever they're calling it, the East France, whatever?
I'm not actually sure. That's a good question. I'll have to look that up.
Find that out. Oh, my picture just disappeared. Thank you, camera. Yeah. That's awesome.
At least our piece of that Great East is about 2 million people, but that doesn't sound like very much. But obviously Paris is 10 million plus.
Right.
But
Yeah.
we'll see.
All right. So
Yeah.
thank you guys. We're going to have Katie and Marcus report on the results in 2 weeks, and obviously anything that happens between now and then that you know, we need to talk about. That's serious stuff, everybody. What do you say, Ecoseries? Even John Ellis once promoted Macon, and now you can all call him another deep state agent. What? Bacon? What are we talking about? I'm lost on the comments. I was watching you guys have a conversation. Good conversation you guys having there. Thank you all for being here. Sorry about the whole mix-up and shit. Thank you, Katie. Welcome to stay. Welcome to drop out. Whatever you want to do.
Yeah, I'll be in the chat. Okay.
All right. Thank you so
Cheers.
much.
Thank you, Katie. Bye-bye. See you.
Great conversation. And these guys know what they're talking about. I like that. So we'll keep updating you on that. You know, could end up going to war with us at some point. So we need to just, you know, keep all our options open there, be friendly with everybody we can over there with where America's going, which is, you know, a little scary, quite frankly. Very scary, maybe, to say. And Marcus can tell you that earlier today, I was really having a hard time just with all the shit that's going on.
Yeah. And I can understand you.
Yeah. There's a lot. Better news about the French election here than MSM. That sums it up, Katie. That really does. It's the truth. I gotta look at here's the thing. I was so worried about all the stuff that I was looking at on my list this morning. I totally forgot about the French election. It's like, oh yeah, and that. And then Marcus reminded me Katie was coming in. I'm like, oh, we got to cover that. Of course we got to cover that. It's actually happier news than I was going to talk about. Very discouraged with our overall independent media presence. And Marcus and I were talking about kind of the futility of the fact that everybody's in a silo. And we don't seem to be able to pull everybody together under one network, which really is what needs to happen. We got to combine forces here. It's like the mobilization. We have to mobilize on the war against climate. We have to mobilize on the war of information. And that means unity. Not unity like Tom Perez unity. I'm talking unity like we're all human beings, and if you don't want to die, that kind of unity. Where legislation is bullshit because you're going to be folding that legislation up to light a fire to eat some food if you can find any legislation. Right? That's what I'm talking about. We are so close. Hi, all 63 of you that are still watching this program. And to all the other people that show up later, 300 to 400 people end up watching these shows eventually over the course of several days, or listening over on Pirate Radio 95.5 Boulder. Thank you, Phil Britton, and everybody over there, Crispy Critters. I appreciate all the effort you guys go through to help spread the word on this. Had the March for Science on the 23rd. That was on the card. I was supposed to talk about that. Let's look at that. March for Science. And if you guys saw, we broadcast that whole thing, and Bill Nye kicking some serious ass. Great speech. I'll have to go back and pull that out and run it again. But he's good speech, Bill Nye. James Hancock, yeah, we're a landscape of silos. Yes, we are. A landscape of silos that I don't know why we won't just come together and I don't know. I don't. Bernie's Panders, John, look up. Yes? Why? Why do you want me to look up? All right. Yeah, maybe I didn't get it. Sorry. I look. Helicopters? We had one. We have an airport close to us. A blue and white helicopter flew like 50, 75 feet over our house and just kind of, like, okay. Who are you? Thanks. That's loud. That was the other day when we were live. Look up. See what Bernice said. That's what we're talking about. Okay. Now I got to go find it. That Awake post and the post I shared asking for help with a new indie network server was liked by RT by dozens, including Elon Musk's official news Twitter. Really? Wow. That's cool. That's really cool. I appreciate that. I'm great. Hey, Elon Musk and anybody else who's out there, we need to talk. We need some funds. Not for me. We need a unification of network resources, or else we're not going to survive. TYT can't do it on its own with Democracy Now! Over here and RT over here, and that's not going to work. Right? This is a war of the world. We're at the prelude of that. We're watching the Armageddon occur. I have to take it to like Star Trek First Contact, because that's the only way I see a happy ending in that. Right? But we have all this pain and suffering happening right now. We got to get through that right now. But yeah, I'm glad. That's fucking badass. Thank you, Bernice. That's fantastic. I hope somebody hears. I really do. All right. There's an event going on the 29th, but I can't remember what it is. Scott Galindez's broadcast. We're doing a live view solo. It's happening on the 29th. It's somewhere around Scott, and so I'm gonna get a card made for it, and we'll broadcast that. Yeah. We're at war with DC. It is critical and masking time. Yes, it is, Phil Britton. We have to... Yeah. Bernice, John, I can share that vid you made saying what you're about, unless you wanted to make a different one. No, please share. That's like version 5 of that video, and they just keep getting a little shorter, a little more desperate, and a little, more concise. So yeah, just please. Not, no, let me take that back. Not desperate. They just get more. Here it is. Here we are. I'm gonna. I gotta depart because I gotta tell you something. This, like, I've been really doing a lot of personal thinking. There's been a lot of stuff going on with me personally here. I've been sick, really sick for the last several days, and not being able to sleep, and that doesn't do well for my brain, and epilepsy and all of those things. And so I'm not in the best of states right now for a lot of reasons. But I've really a recurring dream that I've had throughout my entire life was that I would end up dying or surviving the last bit of humanity in some kind of cube. It was always a cube, and I was surrounded by screens, and I was broadcasting the last of Earth's messages. That's like one of my like if I was going to go out in a flash of glory, and this has been a dream that I've had for years, and like since I was a teenager. Somehow I don't know, it's like sci-fi. I'm going to end up, and there's some movie that I saw where that's in there, where there's some guy sitting at the controls of all the shit, and he's broadcasting, and I think it's maybe it's like some silly British thing or something. But I was like, that's going to end up being me, and I would joke about it, like, that's so ridiculous. The Earth will never get to that point,
John?
Yeah.
We are doing the show. Tell me when.
What? No. It's not a show. It's not a show, Marcus. That's what it. Look around.
No. When everything, John, when everything blows up, we are doing the last show.
Oh, we're doing right, but of course we'll do. We'll call it "It's the End of the World as We Know It" show, or something like that. Which I think I can use that REM song, which would make it really fun, right? We'll just play that
down
song.
with John Markus.
The end of the world. Let's just call it "The End of the World" with John Markus. Come join us for the end of the world today.
Yeah.
But
you all are invited.
What I realized is that I have that. I sit in a small box surrounded by screens broadcasting Earth messages to a very small ragtag fleet of rebels. It's like that's what I do. It's ridiculous. I never thought the Earth would get to this point. I never thought governments would get to this point. I really, really thought that we would be flying around in our flying cars and everybody would be at peace and things would be good by the time I got to 2017. I really did. I lived the American dream because I was dreaming. That American dream is what's kept us all asleep. And here we are, I'm giving her all she's got. Exactly. And that's why I take it to the Star Trek First Contact. Because Marcus has not, I don't know, he's totally un-American. He's German. Which is okay, you get away with that. But, totally un-American of you, Marcus.
Very surprising that I'm not an American as a German.
It doesn't matter. You're on this show, you got to be American when you're on it.
Okay.
So Marcus is not familiar with Star Trek First Contact and the whole idea. So just, if you guys don't know, here's this I have to take it to a positive end. So in my make-believe American dream, somehow I survive the impending war that will probably involve nuclear weapons and radiation clouds and all that kind of stuff. So I survive and end up working with James Cromwell, whoever the real Cromwell is, to build the first nacelles for warp drive so that we can take off into the stars. And then eventually some people like Geordie LaForge come down from the future. You've seen the movie. Anyway, the whole idea is that some of us survive the apocalypse and rebuild Earth under Federation guidelines. And yes, that is my dream. I'm not joking about that. That's always been my dream. I have the tattoo of the Starship Enterprise D right here. And I had this done in 1995. Because in 1995, when I was drunk and stupid, I wanted that dream. Like, we're going to have the Federation someday. It's going to be awesome. We're on our way. Look at fucking technology. Earth is great. That was me in 95. Today, I'm like, maybe after the apocalypse, we'll start to build this, and somebody else will get to see that reality. And that's as ridiculous as Donald Trump being president. I'm just going to go there. Isn't it, Markus?
We are nearing Stephen King's The Stand, more and more.
Yes. Yes, we are. Yes, we absolutely are. That's a little more harsh than I really want it to be, Stephen King, The Stand. But yeah, we are. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, and I think the human stupidity, as I always preach it, is too basic. It will cause one less catastrophe until the human race maybe will wake up. Maybe. There's a quote, I don't know if it was Stephen Hawking. He says the Third World War will be done with nuclear weapons, and the Fourth World War will be done with sticks and stones.
Yep.
Yeah, says it all.
Yeah, and sticks and stones, I think that's being generous, honestly.
Yeah.
Moving on with actual, I don't know, news. Call it news. And I see your comments, everybody. But we are looking more like the Stand in Star Trek, that's for sure. Yes, Brom, is well put from Markus there. Trump thinks we can fly to Mars in his presidency. No. Well, in his presidency. No, because it's not going to last very long. Not at all.
It would be possible. We got to tell him it would be possible with him on board. And
yes. There you go.
Go to Mars.
Only with you on board, fucktard. Yeah.
Yeah, we need you.
Chad,
Commander.
I love Star Trek too, but it's fiction. Yeah, not so much. The majority of the technology that was created in Star Trek we have today. Even the drives, antimatter, we've made that. All right, you know, we've got the majority of that, and so many of the things that we use in technology today came from Star Trek. We're there, folks. We have flying car. I've got a story on. We have many flying cars. Most of them are unaffordable by the 99% today, but we've got flying cars. We've got flying platforms. We've been able to transport atoms from one place to another. We've duplicated atoms. We've made tiny black holes. We've created new matter that didn't exist. We've seen new states of matter we didn't think exist before. We've been able to take atoms and give them negative mass. Yes, we do have fucking Star Trek today. It's just we don't invest our interest, our money, our resources into it. We hide all that science away so that we can go swing our dicks and play war for oil. If we had focused on all this goddamn technology, we'd be in the stars. We do have that shit today. There is no such thing as science fiction. There is only research and development. Anything you can think of can be created. How do you think antimatter started existing? They went, you know what, we can fucking make that. Tiny black holes, we can figure that out. That I report on material science and incredible breakthroughs in science daily on this show. I can't even keep track of where we're at. It's insane, the technology we have at our fingertips. Everybody on this planet could be fed, clothed, taken care of, live in fucking luxury like Donald goddamn Trump. Every fucking one of us on this planet. But we have 1% of us that doesn't give a fuck about the rest of us. And quite frankly, I don't give a fuck about them. I don't. I want to survive. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. And God most definitely the one sitting in the fucking Oval Office. Here's what he's working on. He's not going to get his wall funded. This morning, Spicy said that they were going to go after the wall. This afternoon, we're not going to get the wall. They're going to wait on that. You know why they're going to wait on that? Because no one wants us to pay for the fucking wall. Not even the Republican Party wants us to pay for the wall. No one wants a goddamn wall, you stupid asshole. No one. No one but you. And your little stooges that hang around and suck your dick. No one but you, Don. No one wants a wall. We're going to build one anyway. I'm sure they'll find a way to fund it. Is France going to get a wall? Has Le Pen talked about building a wall to protect France from, whatever you guys?
From Germany would be an option, but no.
What is the protect?
No, not to my knowledge. No. She, as Katie said, she's much more smarter than 45. And
right.
Okay,
so
this is not a masterpiece. This is easily done. This is easy done, And but okay.
She understands the wall's dumb, right? She wants to go for some. But she believes in. Is she racist? Does she believe in France first or that whole?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yes. And she is agitating against immigrants and against Muslims, and it was a complete Nazi package,
Yeah, it is. Just to comment on this. Who was it that said? Yes, Ellis Ray. He can have a GoFundMe for the wall. I really think it would get funded that way. Think about that. If they had a GoFundMe that could handle like a 1% donation of several $1 billion, get it funded that way. They just privatize and fund the wall that way. They could put their names on it and have like plaques. This portion of the wall funded by Rick Perry and George Soros. This portion of the wall funded by Rexon, right? They should do that. They don't like that. They could have a gold portion of the wall for Trump, and he could fund it by borrowing money from the Treasury like he's doing right now to pay off his debts.
This wall is being brought to you by Walmart.
There you go. This wall is brought to you by Walmart. They're right. See, Bloomberg, Jeff Bezos, they pay for the wall themselves. Walmart will show the rest of the money. Yeah, I'm serious. The supremacy of French civilization, says Kate. Yeah. Talking about Le Pen. I agree with putting solar panels on it. I think if the wall gets built, Elon Musk just go out there and start slapping, right? Every section that gets put, put solar power on. You know what we need to do, though, is we run that solar power to Mexico. So we give them free electricity off of the stupid fucking wall we built. That would be the ultimate insult to Donald Trump and the 1%. Thank you for giving Mexico free energy. That would be an apology from America. Sorry, we're dicks. Here's some free electricity that we should be making for ourselves.
This would remind me of the Monty Python sketch with the Spanish Inquisition, in which they torture an old lady with a cushion and on a comfy sofa.
Yes. It is as silly as Monty Python. We live in a world today where our leadership is as idiotic as Monty Python. And it's acceptable.
Yes.
It's acceptable. It's acceptable today. What are you guys talking about? The 1% was not there. The people would continue to sleep, perhaps. Yes. Hey, Barbara, how you doing? Chaz, Nico Sutra. We're going to talk about the 410 ppm as well. We got All right. Here's a shocker, everybody. Shocker. 2/3 of Americans think the Democratic Party is out of touch with the country. They don't care. The Democratic leadership does not care. They've made that very clear on their Ununity tour. Right. They've had every opportunity to say the right words, meaning to mimic, echo, mirror Bernie's words, but have them come out of the mouths of establishment tools. It's not happening. It's more like an Obama speech coming out of the mouths of establishment tools. And then, Bernie's saying his shit, and it's totally separate. I'll be honest with everybody who's in the audience who has always pushed for third party. I have never said I don't believe in a third party. I just don't believe that a third party will ever gain the power it needs to with our current structure and our current corruption to do what it takes. But my God, am I ready for Bernie to say, fuck this shit. I am so ready for Bernie to say, fuck it, I want every millennial, everybody who supported me. We're moving over to the goddamn America Stupid Party, and we need to fix it now party, and we're going to call it that, and we're going to fund it, and we're going to take over the goddamn country. That's I don't care what he calls it. I know we can call it the Victorian Dildo Party, but we need to create, I'm so ready. Until he does it, I will work within the structure that I have within the Democratic Party. But I'm dying for him to say, I'm done. And it almost seems like he's getting close to that. It's like, I'm bringing you guys on tour. Everybody wants to see me. You're riding coattail, but nobody likes what you're playing. Stop playing that shitty music. I'm fucking rock star. I didn't bring you along, to play death punk. Sorry, no offense, Marcus. But I had to knock. I was like trying to think of what music can I knock that I don't. Oh, punk. I hate punk. Sorry, I had to.
Get prepared for my next music choices.
Oh shit! Retribution can come in many ways from the Germans.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
Listen, Bernie, as a candidate for a potential third party, what would he to organize rallies? He only would need to set up a homepage or something like that and ask the people, in which arena do you want me to see, or in which town hall, or in which hall you want to see. It would be overcrowded with money in minutes. You could play every arena, every hall in the country if you wanted to.
It would.
You get the money minutes later for this to rent these halls.
The problem isn't the money. The problem is what we talked about already. The failure of our leadership who would have that money, even if it's in the Bernie camp, right? Let's just say all this money comes into our revolution or whatever he chooses, right? There's not the proper leadership there to organize the Democratic Party under that new banner with technology in the right way, focused on the issues to get it done and disseminate that wealth throughout the grassroots. That's the problem. That's the problem I see. Like Bernie would have to say.
Yeah, and this is.
Go ahead.
This is why he sticks to what he's doing.
Right. That's why he sticks to what he's doing.
It would be easy. It would be easy to raise the money and everything, and to get the people in the streets and everything, but the organization, the infrastructure. And here we go again.
Right. That's the problem. We would need to rebuild that infrastructure. We would need to organize to build that infrastructure, and we need to keep the people in power from getting corrupt while they built the infrastructure. That's what I see the big issue, right? And you got to understand, to build that infrastructure would also require a lot of legislation and other bureaucracy and bullshit within every town and city and state in the fucking country. It's not just, we rented a building and we've got some paper. There's all this legislative shit that has to go down. That's what worries me the most, is that in an attempt to reorganize under a new banner, there's no structure that's solid. There's no interconnected structure because we can't even organize ourselves as rebels. So anyway, I would love for Bernie to do it. I don't have faith in the leadership around Bernie to do it right. Sorry, guys, Jeff Weaver and whoever else. I don't see enough of those leaders, right? I don't know. That's just my thing. What are you guys talking about? Once again, the Democratic Party would rather lose to a Republican than win with a progressive Bernie. Yeah, of course, Steve. There's just so much going on. The Dems hate her. You talking Tulsi Gabbard? Yeah, because she's threatening. She's interesting. Scott has always maintained that she's more of a war hawk than we know. So keep that in mind. She may not be interested in regime change, but she may be interested in other things. No, who knows? Moving on. This is like top news stuff today. This guy. This here. Let me explain what the cover for this guy is. All right. This one is down there where it says. Dead babies are okay as long as men decide to kill them. I had to think about how to write that headline. Dead babies are okay as long as men decide to kill them. Why? Because that is exactly what we have. Here's this guy's... Here's this dude. He's a Republican. Dean Heller. Blah, 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 blah. His seat's up in 2018. I hope we get rid of this guy. But they're talking about his support. I just want to read. Here's the hypocrisy. Heller said he was a supporter of women's health care, including Planned Parenthood, and has no problem with federal funding. I will protect Planned Parenthood, blah, 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 blah. But then he says, but he worries that federal funding should only cover some of the activities that occur in Planned Parenthood, which it does only occur some. It has never funded abortion. That's the issue that he's worried about, is that it would fund the murdering of a baby. And I want to use that word, murdering of a baby, because that's whether you believe in life, wherever it starts, whatever, we'll just call it murder of a baby. I have no problem with it, because it's not my right to decide. It's not my body. I don't have it growing in me. I'm not going to make that moral choice. I'm going to leave that to the person who's got that baby in their body. That's your moral choice, and you're going to have to live with that hard choice. And I've seen women go through that and have to live with that choice. And I thank fake gods every day that I don't have to go through that choice. Believe me. Believe me. All right? But there's a hypocrisy here. We have that same guy, Dean Heller, will have no problem bombing Syria and murdering babies. Right? He murders babies all over the fucking world. When he agrees to fracking, he murders babies or gives them diseases or problems. When he blows up another country or says, yes, we need to bomb that country, Assad's another guy, he's murdering children all over the fucking world. These same Republicans that say, I don't believe in abortion because it's the murder of a child, say, go bomb that country and sorry we blew up some children. It's okay to kill babies as long as men decide which ones they are and how they die. Abortion is not okay, according to these men. But murdering babies their way, fine. If they get to come in and supervise and decide that the baby in your body needs to be dead, then it's okay as well. Men in America, dickhead, penis first men, have decided that they are the only ones capable of choosing when babies should be dead. That is literally what this fucker says when he goes, don't know what Planned Parenthood should get. So I just want to point that out to all men. You have no fucking right to decide when babies die. The fact that a woman gives birth and is the carrier of life gives her that power. She is the God. She is the one in power there. She chooses life or death, and she has to deal with that choice. Not you, weak man, little penis man. All you do is provide a seed. You don't do dick afterwards. No pun intended, whatever. I just want to make that clear. Men in this world need to be brought to heel. We need to pull the penis extension out of this fucking country and out of the ideology of this fucking country. And a lot of that goes hand in hand with fucking God and the Bible and goddamn religion in this country. Please pull your fucking religion out of my government. It was never supposed to be in there. God is not great. God does not watch over us. God does not protect us. God doesn't give a fuck about us. All right? We have a nation to run. God doesn't do shit for it. Let's live in reality in the 21st century. Thank you very much. Sorry. You want to believe what you want to believe? Go do that. Right? But I don't want your religion in my fucking government. That's a big part of the problem. Why do we go that? We go to this story. We go to this story, which is... this is part of the problem. An Arizona legislator gave an invocation that didn't mention God, and everybody had a shit. She basically gave a opening prayer. This is the big thing in these legislatures. You got to come up and pretend that you're some good Christian, pretend that you believe that you're good and moral, and praise Jesus and say thank you God for letting us have Senate. It really should be praise be citizens who have paid for my ass to be here to represent them in this way and have the Senate. All hollow be citizens. but instead they pray to some imaginary bullshit figure. This woman came in and just did an incantation that didn't include, and thank you God Jesus for letting us be here, and all the God Jesus lying hypocrites went, you didn't include God Jesus. Hypocrites. Fucking hypocrite lowlifes. The same Christians that are going to complain about a woman choosing what she does with her body. Get your fucking religion out of my government. Take your backwards, knuckle-dragging, ancient, dumbass ways and go away. This is the 21st century, and if you believe religion has a place in government, you need to go back to the Middle Ages. I don't want you in my government. I don't want you in my society, I'll be honest. You are undereducated. You are ignorant. Get your fucking religion out of my government. It has destroyed it. It has made fools and idiots of our leadership. It has distorted the truth and continues to distort the truth today. All right, that was a fun rant. I gotta move on. Jesus. You knew I was in a bad mood today, Marcus. In a fucking bad mood.
Oh yes, and yeah, I can, yeah, I can imagine it is life is hard, and yeah, more and more nonsense and bullshit comes. Yeah, it's hard to bear. I can imagine this. And,
what's religion like over there?
What is really?
What? No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Here, what do you mean?
Well, I mean, do you guys? No. What were you gonna say? What were you gonna say? I don't want to know about it. What are you gonna say? Go for it. Go on.
Okay, I think it is very bizarre that the discussions about unborn babies are made by men who, once the babies are born, don't give a fuck about them anymore. You know, and this shows the complete yeah, bullshit. You know.
That's hypocrisy too. Yeah.
Yes.
Once that baby's born.
And,
unless we bomb it.
If they really would care for children, then they would offer the best education, the best health system, etc. for the children. Yeah. Do they?
No.
They don't. So fuck them.
Exactly, Marcus. Thank you guys. I'm glad you liked that rant. Everybody said like, I appreciate that. I feel stupid after I rant. You know, like a 5-year-old getting their anger out. But you know, that's what we do here, right? But you're right, Marcus. There's that hypocrisy has always existed. Once it's born, we don't give a fuck, right?
Yeah,
it's on its own.
Right. Exactly.
You know, I guess my thing is I apologize to women, and I really wish women would rise up, like work together, come up with some kind of man control technology, and just implement it. That's what you guys should do, because you're not going to win a war against men and our stupidity and our knuckle-dragging ways and our penis-first ways. You're not going to win it with physical form, right? We're the big apes. We can beat you all up. But you could definitely win it with words. You could definitely win it with technology. You could definitely win it if you just, I don't know, used your sexuality, which seems to really get most men these days. Mike Pence can't even be in a room with fucking Mrs. Butterworth, for God's sakes. You know? And yeah, I stole that joke. We really gotta women, come on, it's up to you, you know, please. When I do rant, I do feel better. I just hope it makes other people feel better. I don't you know, it's not just for me. Tell the baby to yank its bootstrap. I know, right? That's what's up. All right, moving on to positiveness. We did have the March for Science, and there were majorly big marches for science all over the world, and they were huge, and they were terrific, and they were bigly. But I want to recognize all the little ones. Because while there were massive marches in San Francisco and D.C. and Berlin and all over the place, big march in Berlin, by the way. I wish we'd caught some of that, see what your Germans were doing over there. But this was a march in Rhode Island. I know Janine Calkin was involved, Senator Calkin of Rhode Island, one of the few representatives that I know isn't dicking the American public today. And Rhode Island, Corvallis, there was one, Eugene, Salem. There were hundreds and hundreds of marches all over in towns and cities everywhere. And I just want to say thank you to everybody who went out into the public and engaged in a march of protest, solidarity for science. These are it takes so much. It takes so much energy to go out and know that you are one voice in a sea of millions and be in your small town and to feel impassioned about what you're doing. That is so hard. I know it. It's so, thank you guys. It's so important that you keep doing that. That's why I want to recognize the small towns. Dianne Feinstein, the reason I have this in here, this is a TYT clip. Michael Tracy. You guys answer me this. Has Michael Tracy always been with TYT, or did they pick him up recently? They're kind of gobbling up these good journalists and independent voices, and I think that's fantastic. And I'm glad. That's what they need to do, right? I wish other agencies would consider doing that, just putting these YouTube people under their roofs so that they've got that reach, because you'll reach, like Democracy Now!, you could be bringing in some people, right? Expand what you've got going on, Real News Network. So TYT's got it going on with this. Eco Sutra, not one word about permaculture in any of those marches. Permaculture is like advanced calculus, and we're trying to get people through remedial math. See what I'm saying? Like, we're trying to get people to understand the basic algebraic functions, and you're talking high-level physics. The planet's not ready for it. The question is, will we be ready for that stuff in time? I don't know. But the reason I want to play this, they just hired him. Great, thank you guys. He's from Vice. I didn't know that. Cool. I like him. I love his style. He confronts Dianne Feinstein after this town hall where Feinstein basically is a fucking establishment dildo. If this is where you see the dildo right here, okay? This is why a tool not in your hands is useless. Feinstein is an establishment ivory tusk dildo, and we need to put her back in the case and get us a tool that we like. Get one of them new vibrator rabbit touch dildos that I don't even ask me why I know that shit. All right, so we're gonna listen to this clip. Let me get it set up. We're gonna listen to this clip because I really like how Michael Tracy kind of brings it home here. She has, and her words are, there's nothing in these statements. Just know that there's nothing.
Senator, today you reiterated your support for President Trump's missile strikes in Syria. Given the lessons of Iraq and Libya, what confidence should your constituents have that the United States can successfully effectuate regime change in the Middle East?
I don't think we should have any confidence in regime change right now. I don't know a plan to secure regime change right now. I think the hope was that the negotiated agreement with Russia, with Iran, and with the Assad regime was going to yield an armistice and then an election. Whether that can be put back together again, I don't know, because there isn't a diplomatic effort right now.
But today you call for the ouster of Assad. Doesn't that constitute regime change?
Pardon me?
Doesn't the ouster of Assad constitute regime change? Because that's what you called for earlier today.
Well, in my view, anybody that allows 500,000 of his own people to be killed by his own army doesn't belong in office. So he's got to go. I have no problem saying that.
So you do favor regime change?
Okay. We're done. Thank you very
Please,
much.
I can handle myself.
Okay.
So you do favor regime change, Senator?
Thank you.
Senator, what is ousting Assad if not regime change, which you've called for?
Regime. I don't want to get into semantics. I think you know what I was saying. Okay.
Sir, can I ask you a question? I talked to a lot of your constituents.
No, I don't think we know what you were saying. You won't say the fucking word, will you, Dianne? Did even funnier, did you see her handler, her little helper there? Come on, let's go away. I can handle this. I can eat everything on the plate and have my Jell-O too. That's Dianne Feinstein, basically. She's ready for the nursing home, everybody. Dianne doesn't even know what the fuck's coming out of her mouth anymore. Yes, I think we should get rid of Assad, but no, I don't want to call it regime change. It's called democracy. That's what we used to call it when you people didn't give a shit. Why are you so concerned now? That's Dianne. Please.
Or you can call it a magic trick.
Yes, call it a magic trick. That's what it is. That's what we call it, Dianne. It's a magic trick. It's okay. Eat your cookie. eat your cookie, and go back to your room. Right? It's time for you to be done playing politics. Can somebody in California please replace that dildo? Please? And bring in a useful tool? Because she's done. She's done. She's a Victorian era dildo that needs to be put back in a box. Please. Nobody's enjoying having her around anymore. We got way better tools to pull out and shed. Way better tools.
And she has the strange aura of a Margaret Thatcher, you know.
Say that again.
And she has the strange aura of a Margaret Thatcher from
kinda.
In the 80s.
Yeah, she does. She does have.
Yeah?
Yeah, she does. Hang on a second. There's somebody saying that. What I was caught by something in the comments here. Going through comments. Melissa, sorry, John, but I like that she did say that. What? That when the guy who bombs his own, that was all. Or what are you talking about? She's all up. So let me just make it clear. She made a statement that said she thinks that anybody who'd let 500,000 of his own people die, bombed or whatever, or bomb his own people should go. What about Congress then? Do we not look at our own atrocities? How many people have we fucking murdered around the world for this, that, or the other, Diane? That doesn't matter. We're okay. Everything we do, everything the United States does, no problem. It's good. That's called regime change. Woman, that's being a hypocrite. Don't you fucking get... So, Melissa, when you say you like that she said that, she's being a fucking hypocrite. I don't like that she said that at all. That's fucking for virginity.
Misunderstanding. John, misunderstanding. Melissa says, no, John, when she told her handler to back off.
Oh! but
I agree to Melissa, yes. This showed a resolute woman, but she should be in a retirement home and not any longer in politics. Because the answer was horrible. The answer did not fit together because, you know, wash me, don't make me wet, you know.
Oh my gosh, you guys are hilarious. You guys are cracking me up. Okay, yes. Wait a minute. So you liked... So I'm sorry, Melissa. Apologize. I went off for the wrong thing there. You liked it because she told her Hannah back... But it reminded me of... it was still like a grandma in a nursing home. It really was. I'm not sure that really is a great showing for a representative to have to even say that. Okay. I get it. You're not... Yeah, I know you're not crazy. You're not crazy. No. I get you're not crazy. I'm sorry. I just don't think... It didn't represent her well either way. That's all I'm saying. It didn't represent her well either way. The handler was like, you're not doing well here. We need to go away now. And she didn't do any better. That's the thing. She didn't have it. Right? She still couldn't answer the question. It's not regime change. You know what I meant. I'm not going to get into semantics, but you have to. We're talking about going to war with somebody. So semantics kind of count here. Context matters. Semantics count. They do, especially with global diplomacy and war. Wouldn't you think? I don't know.
And Melissa, I'm not start ragging on people for their age. Look at Bernie, yes, but Bernie knows what he's talking about, and this woman doesn't.
You ever heard a handler come up to Bernie and say, "Let's go"?
Nope.
I'm sorry. And I think Bernie's older than Feinstein. I don't know how old she is. Maybe she's preserved or something, but you know. Anyway. More like a museum. She should be in a museum. So, Melissa, listen, that whole going off on things wasn't going off on you. All right? That was actually going off on a misunderstanding. So I apologize. I totally see where you could see that just in terms of like a powerful woman or a woman saying, you know, leave me alone. I'll handle this. It just came across as an old grandma. Right? That's how it came to me. Anyway, Feinstein. This is pretty cool. I just wanted to play this little snippet and talk about how cool it is and then how sad it is, because it's both. She's older. Feinstein's older, really? Wow, interesting. Well then,
84?
She's
really?
80. Is she really?
No, come on.
That's true. Just don't talk about people's ages. It opens up Bernie attack phrase. Let's talk about that real second, about people's age. Okay. Here's the reality we all know. When people get older, there's some whose brains don't work as well. That's just the aging process. We don't need to deny that, right? The aging process will happen to all of us. Whether it happens to Bernie at any point and we recognize it, or Diane and we recognize it, who knows? They could be sharp as fucking tacks until they're 99 years old, 100 years, whatever they live to. Right now, it seems apparent that Diane is not shiny and operating on all cylinders. That's my take based on what I could see. Age is affecting her. So we have to open it up. But it comes down to, well, what do you look like on stage? Are you making sense? Do you sound like you have dementia? Does it sound like your age is a problem? Are your actions looking like you have a problem? We have to take it into account. We can't just say that because, you're 90 years old and sitting in Congress and able to make sounds that you're good. Sorry. We have to bring age into this. Excuse me. But there are congressmen that have sit there forever collecting dust, who have zero input into anything and zero to think and input because they really haven't moved or learned or grown or done anything in the 100 years they've been sitting in their seats. That's age affecting their job. And I want that aged person out of their job. Sorry, age is a factor because human beings perform, some of them, depending on when, perform less well as they get older. And I don't want somebody with a brain that's working towards dementia making decisions for my federal fucking government. We have to bring age into it. It's a fact, right? We can't deny mental health. We can't deny the fact that our brains tend to function worse as we get older. It has to be a factor. Let's face that reality, right? My dad right now at 75 is dealing with the fact that his brain is slowing down a little bit. Sometimes he has great days, sometimes he has bad days. What it really means for him is that he's limited. Like he can go and do things and then he has to stop and take a nap, right? Or sometimes he gets overwhelmed, right? You telling me this isn't affecting all the old people sitting in government right now? That we don't have a bunch of old white folk whose brains are really tired and ready to go when they're a little bit on the dementia side and they're making shit up and can't remember what's happening day to day? I think we got a lot of that going on in our fucking government right now. But nobody holds them to any mental health standards. Nobody holds them to any health standards. We don't hold our employees, we don't hold our employees to any kind of fucking mental standard. Obviously, we've elected a psychopath, idiot, fucktard. There's no standard there. Age has to play a factor. And I think our Congress people should be forced to take exams to show that they're capable of fucking thinking and being in office. We have to take exams to show that we're capable of doing our jobs at work, right? We have to go through training. We have to know what the fuck we're talking about. Nobody holds our Congress people to these standards. We should have standards for our employees. Those standards should include knowing science. I don't believe in science. I don't have to. Science is a fucking fact. I don't believe in climate change. I don't have to. I don't believe in climate change. You know why? Because climate change is a fact. I don't have to believe in it. It exists all around me. It's a fucking fact. Right? That's the difference. I want my government to think about climate change, not just believe in it, to think about it and act on it and be smart enough to think about it. And I don't think most of the old folk in government right now are capable of thinking about it. No offense. Diane's a primary example. And then John said, we elected a psychopath fucktard, and I passed milk through my nose. Phil Britton. All right. Jesus, a lot of ranty today. Sorry, guys. Who can pass a citizenship test? Michael Stapleton, I barely passed it. Barely. I didn't do as well as I'm sure most immigrants do. Yeah, the citizenship tests. We should have all of our government. They should all be able to pass that. How much? You bet? I guarantee you, the vast majority of our government doesn't pass that test. They're not asked to. Do you even know how the government works? Look at Trump. He still doesn't know how the government works. 3 branches? Yeah, I'm a CEO. Fuck you. Jeff Sessions. How come a judge over on some Hawaiian island can tell the federal president that he can't do things? That's why we have 3 branches, asshole. To keep people like you from doing things.
But his strategy is completely different than other presidents because he's only delegating people, You see, he gave the military free hand to operate in Afghanistan, with dropping the bomb.
Yes.
He didn't take over responsibility for this. No. He said he gave the military chiefs a free hand to do this. And look at his at Jared Kushner. Look at the amounts of jobs he's dealing with now. I think what has he to do for foreign relations? And then bringing the dollar back, and I don't know. He has a huge task to do, and normally this would be several departments to do. And this is Trump. He only says, "You're a tool. You are my tool." To come back to your tool, you are my tools. You are my dildos. And if you don't work, you are getting exchanged. But I will never take over any responsibility for what you tools are doing.
Yeah. Yes. That's exactly what's happening. It's the rise of Hitler combined with a Monty Python episode and the movie Idiocracy, all smashed into one crazy thing going on right now. That's really what we have. It's because he's doing something different than Hitler did, because he's not doing it in the same way, and it looks ridiculous. But what I love about what's happening, Marcus, here's what I love about what's happening, is that the implosion of the American bullshit it's still happening. It's just we're on the brink of war with everybody in Armageddon. But the American democracy will not survive this. It is crumbling. It is going to be rebuilt as something else, or America will get taken over by France or Germany. You guys will come over and be enough of your shit. That's fine. I would love to be like a proxy of Germany. That'd be great. I'm okay with that. Just let us keep our weed, will you? Just keep our weed. You guys can keep it legal.
I would not count on this.
Really? You think? Really? I'll go to war with you over weed.
Okay, your question.
What?
Your question. You wanted to ask me a question.
Did I? No, I don't remember.
Okay.
No, because I wanted to look at. Listen. First of all, hey everybody who's here. I see there's a lot of new people, or some new people. Janine, haven't seen you in a while. Thank you for being here. I know this show is like crazy, like all over the place. It's just because there is so much going on that's insane, in so many different areas. And actually the end song works perfect for that. I want to back up and just say I did really rail on old people a lot, and I want to back up and say old people are only half of the problem. Millennials, young people, are the other half of the problem. All of us are the problem. I didn't want to single out just old people. When I was really talking about in terms of old people is mostly old people in Congress, in our leadership. That's, old people in general. Like most I'm old people. Me and Markus are old people, right? And then it goes on up.
Thank you.
Yes, it's our fault. Really, all of us together in all of this, mostly Americans. Right, yeah. All right. Here's. I just want to. I got to cover a few more things. I don't have enough time to go over this. Actually, yeah. Here's what we're gonna do. Click on the links. There's a lot of cool links. One of them is to Myron Dewey. There's a 360 video here that he's done. He's got this really cool camera. I don't know how he's got this done. This is a really cool camera, and this is an interview. It's just like one small section with this guy whose name is Oren Lyons, Indigenous Forum. I'm going to just play this real quick so you can hear it, and then we're going to talk about people in a box.
This is Myron Dewey here with Digital Smoke Signals with Oren. Oren, why is it important for the indigenous people to be here?
This is a beachhead we made way back in 1977 to get out of the box. We're out of the box here, but we're in out of one box and into another, and we have to also get out of that box. But it's one of the steps, and it's one of the areas of international relations, and that's where we need to be.
Who needs to be here?
Leaders, real leaders, traditional leaders.
So I don't know if you could see what I was doing, but it's a 360 video. So while it's playing, I can actually drag it around, and I recentered it. It's kind of like a fisheye lens. So I recentered it on Oren, And you saw that Myron's head got all big and weird in the corner there because the fisheye lens. But that's kind of cool. Like you can control what's going around. That's like a really cool camera he's got there that allows him to do those interviews like that all close in without somebody else on the camera. That's obviously an indigenous leader. They're at the United Nations. Is where that is. He's been at the United Nations for the last couple of days. They were talking about what the hell is going on. This guy mentions people in a box, and I just. I was really freaking out this morning about boxes, about police and the brutality that I've seen. And there's a story that I've got, this story. There's been so many of these stories that this is what I'm most frightened of. This is what I'm personally most frightened of. This was a mentally ill person, and they were abusing him, and they put him in solitary, took away his water, and he died. He died under the care of people that we pay to protect us. Doesn't matter what this man did. He died, and there are cops responsible for that. The FBI has already told us that white supremacists have infiltrated our law enforcement agencies across the country. We already are well aware that our law enforcement agencies, the majority of them across the country, are violent. They're brutal. They don't adhere to any laws. They don't give a fuck about the laws. They're a good old boy club. They take care of each other. They are the terrorists of the United States of America. Law enforcement has become the terrorists of their domestic terrorists, of all of us. And I'm frightened of law enforcement in my town, in my county. I'm frightened of law enforcement in federal agencies, of ICE. I've been in solitary confinement, and it left me with PTSD that I still deal with today. I cannot be in closed rooms. I can't deal with closed windows. It really pisses my wife off. I don't like being in confined spaces. And if I were to ever be confronted with that choice again, I would choose death. Because I would not survive in a box. I would not survive under those conditions. I barely was able to deal with it back then. I'm not able to deal with that. And so I would rather die by suicide. And I will take out any law enforcement, and I make this statement publicly: you will never put me in prison. I will never go before your injustice system. I will kill you first, or go about trying, and would rather die that way than go through the injustice bullshit system that we have today. So that's one of the things that has me most sad, is I realize that I do not trust our justice system. I do not respect it. I do not believe it handles human beings in any kind of a caring or just way, and I would much rather kill a cop on the way out than be put through the justice abuse system that we have. And that's how I feel. I just want to make it clear. I'm not saying I'm going to go out and kill cops. I'm not saying that I'm all violent. I'm saying if I were put in a situation where a cop were confronting me, trying to put handcuffs on me, I would not allow that to happen. I would not be peaceful. I could not, because I will not be put in a box, because I would end up like this guy. I would end up having an epileptic seizure. I would end up not being taken care of, and I would die. And I would die in a much more torturous way, hurtful way, than if I just went to take out that cop. And the point I'm trying to make here is that we've reached a state in our civilization de-evolution where I'm ready to defend myself against domestic terrorists that we call law enforcement in this country. It's one of the things about the idiocracy of this whole thing that really isn't that fun to think about. But it's where we are as citizens right now. We are on the verge of a government that has already attacked and brutalized the people. If you watch The Awake, A Dream from Standing Rock, and you watch the abuse, all those cops should be lined up against the wall. Dead. Every one of them. That's my personal feelings. That's why I'll never be invited to be on TYT or under any umbrella like that, is because I tell you exactly how I feel and why. And they don't, it's harsh stuff to talk about. It's just, I don't trust the government. I don't trust our local law enforcement. I don't trust any of the federal agencies. And sadly, that's how libertarians were 10 years ago. They were right for the wrong reasons. They really were. So I'm just telling you, I will defend myself. There you go. I will defend myself, but I will defend myself to the point where I will make sure you are out too. That's where I'm at, because I know that I will not last. I know that I won't last. Right. To know that is that's where we stand today. That's where we stand with our government, with what we face. I'm going to skip through a ton of this stuff because here, I got to play this. This is Flint. Now, recently, actually, it was Tatum and Jordan Cheriton were out in Flint, and a whole bunch of people got arrested at a town hall because they're still not getting shit done in Flint. They're still dicking around with the people. The corrupt government still has a hold of the cash that's supposed to take care of things, and they're just not, it's not getting done the way it needs to get done. This is another part of that frustration I have with our whole government. Even when you confront them, even when the people are pounding at the door and threatening to burn down the whole government in Flint fucking Michigan, the corrupt fucking people in Flint, Michigan are like, whatever, we're the 1%. Don't give a fuck about you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Go ahead. What are you going to do? Burn it down? They have us this close. They have us this close to all-out violent revolution. The Democratic Party won't unify and organize because it's full of corrupt motherfuckers. So the rebels, the 99%, without the leadership, are going to have to do this on our own. But I want to show you how one millennial decided to shut this asshole up. What you're going to look at here is a councilman who didn't like the fact that there were a lot of angry people in the Flint town hall screaming and being angry because their kids are being poisoned, they're given shit water, they're dying. You know, there's a reason to be angry when your livelihood has been stolen from you, when your kids have been brain damaged, and all you've got is a bunch of 1% fuckers debating how to divvy up the money amongst themselves, which is really what it seems like what's going on in Flint right now. So this asshole, after they arrest a bunch of people in the Flint meeting and they're all outside, this asshole gets on a bullhorn to tell everybody how they need to protest correctly and how they can't yell at everybody. He's doing this on a fucking bullhorn. Okay? So I want you to watch the hypocrisy of this shithead and then see the direct action that shuts him up. This just made my day. He's going to babble for a few minutes.
About 11,000 folks. But when we have meetings and protests, it ain't been no 2,000-3,000 folks out here like it should be. It'd be about 50 or 100. And some of them is the same folks. And I don't care about protests. When you protest, and the rules of the game is, if they were enforced, you keep it moving. You don't block sidewalks and that. But the point I'm trying to make is this. When people talking in meetings and people hollering and disrupting meetings, whether it's a council meeting, whether it's a town hall meeting, just like I'm talking on this mic, Woodson want to holler out all bullshit. Let me say this to you. All that hollering and disruption, you can get arrested. You can get arrested.
No,
And
no,
so
you can't.
therefore, if you don't want to be in a civilized society and you want to be disrupted, thank you. Now you need to be arrested.
Fuck you.
Stand up to the people. Stand up.
Yeah, what you gonna do?
You don't believe in freedom of speech. You don't believe in freedom of speech. You're a bigger fool than I thought.
The ridiculous hypocrisy that's an African American there screaming like a 1% elitist at a bunch of people who are angry. He's talking about civilized society. Excuse me, sir, you just delivered lead-filled water to this community. You talk about a civilized society? You just tried to cover it up, you motherfucker. You tried to talk about a civilized society? This society has been de-civilized for such a long time. We're ready to beat the shit out of you, councilman, suit and tie lying piece of shit. That's the hypocrisy we deal with. Motherfucker on a bullhorn telling these people whose water's been poisoned for years that they're out of control and not civilized. Fuck you. And that if they have freedom of speech, they can be arrested for it. You idiot fuck. I can't wait till the people of Flint get rid of that guy and everybody like him. Suit and ties that lie. That's why I despise them. The suit and tie is that's the cover of a terrorist. A domestic terrorist that just lies, spews garbage out their mouth. Just unfucking believable, that guy. There's his face. You want to see the face of somebody who thinks he's entitled, who thinks he knows it? There's his face right there. Someone needs to clock that man in the head. That's how angry I am when I hear people like that who are so confused, so unaware of their own hypocrisy. Thank you, whoever took that bullhorn away. Surprised it didn't get shoved right up his ass. Just unbelievable. Unbelievable. And yeah, and you know he's a righteous Christian who goes to church every Sunday and praises Jesus. You know he is. You just know he is, and sings those Bible songs, and he's a happy fucking hypocrite liar there too. You know it. While he poisons people with lead and watches babies get deformed, he goes to church and praises Jesus, puts some money in the tin, and he's okay. That's how it goes. Hypocrites. Hypocrites and psychopaths. By the way, Louisiana's governor just realized that Louisiana has a problem with its coastline due to climate change. Too little, too late, Louisiana. Bye-bye. Sorry, anybody who watches this show from Louisiana. I apologize. If you watch this show, you're aware of climate change. If you're still living in Louisiana, come on. If you're along the coast, you know you've got to move. Or you've got to build yourself a houseboat or something. Louisiana has just declared a state of emergency over its coastline. Florida, state of emergency not only on its coastline, but on the fires wreaking havoc across the country, because Florida is that wooden sinking ship. It's just the weirdest thing, right? It's a swamp without water, on fire, sinking. Louisiana, it's not just the water. It's the fact that Louisiana has a lot of these areas where you've got salt marshes and you've got you've got salt creeping in and destroying all of this life. Louisiana and the shrimp and all the things going on there, all that, the Gulf being wasted, destroyed. It's a sad, sad testament to our idiocy, right? That this is happening in Louisiana. Dave Martin, I just said I want to see him get clocked. Yes, I said that. I did. It was an act of violence that I said on camera, releasing my rage. I did. I'm impressed with everybody there that they didn't clock him in the head. Right? Let me explain why I can say that. He's a councilman who was involved in knowing that Flint had poisoned water. We poison children. You know, when you've got somebody like Rahm Emanuel who has knowingly, willingly watched poison children, probably kids are dead because of this man, saying, I want to see him get clocked in the head. Pretty light punitive damage, right? Does it solve any purpose? No. Does it do any good? Not really. Would it make me feel better? You fucking bet. There you go. That's the whole thing. Do I have any feelings for that person? No. Sorry. Right now, I'm expressing my anger and my outrage at the hypocrisy. And of course, I'm expressing my own hypocrisy. I want to take violent actions against people who have taken violent actions and said that they're not taking violent. I'm a hypocrite. I am and it is the absolute first reaction that I go to every fucking time. Every time. Because that's what we do in the United States. I get it out. That's all it is. It's getting it out. It's like sweating out a demon. Problem is, every day that demon builds back up. Builds back up. You know? There's a reason I express it. There's a reason I'm honest about it. It's because there are millions of people who feel the same way. Many of them don't express it. Many of them don't even touch it, right? But that anger, that outrage builds. It builds, and if you don't let it out, if you don't confront it, if you don't deal with it, it can morph into other shit. It can turn your heart black. I've watched it happen with friends. You know? It's a lot easier to deal with words for myself, even if they're horrific words I regret, than physical actions. Okay? And I express these words as a safeguard so that I will never take these actions. For me, that's what I do. Right? So, militarized troops, militarized cops. Yeah, I don't want to go down. I mean, yes, I've talked a lot about that. Let me just say this. There's not a lot of cops. There's millions and millions of us. There's 1.1 million American soldiers, not all in the United States. You gather all our troops together, all our cops together, they don't make an army that even has a chance against us. Yes, they have weapons. And yes, they would slaughter thousands. But in the end, the masses would overtake. The ants will win. The ants always win. In history, when you look at violent or peaceful protest and revolution, the ants always win. Doesn't mean the ants always come out on top and end up reforming things, but the ants always win because there are more of them than the greedy 1% or the henchmen that do their job. I mean, that's where we're at. I maybe a yoga show. Yeah, that would be nice and calm. That would be nice and calm. You know? It's yeah. I did have happy things in here today. I really did. Look what you Germans did. You made a fake sun. Do you know that, Marcus?
Not yet, but you. I'm ready to learn.
Well, first, I just want to show you guys this. Okay, Melissa H says, okay, John, find me 10,000 people willing to get violent and die. Not yet. No, let me clarify. That's not yet. We're not there yet. We're this close. We're not there yet. What was it that finally broke France into the French Revolution, into the outright just insanity, right? We have our Marie Antoinette, who literally ate chocolate cake and forgot what fucking country was bombing at the time. And he's basically said, fuck you all. I'm going to continue to eat cake. Fuck you. That's what our guy said. How long is it going to take before we rise violently against the orange one? I don't know. We're not that down yet. We're on our way down fast. All right? We've got some climate catastrophes that need to happen. We've had several, but we're on our way to a few more. That's got to happen. More people have to lose their health insurance, lose their jobs. More people have to get sick from that. We've got a few years of buildup of before we reach that point. Now, the hope is that the nonviolent political revolution faction of our survival will break through and start making some changes in our government to reverse some of this damage before the American people reach the point where we rise up in violence. That's really what and so we've got this 3 points of collision. We either solve it peacefully with government, maybe. We solve it violently with just people are so fucked that they rise and go, hate you all. We solve it with climate change coming in, wiping a good chunk of us out, and the rest of us going, oh shit, maybe we stop worrying about these little issues and survive. That's where I see like the options coming in, you know? I don't know how it's going to play out. I mean, yeah, it would be nice if it all played out peacefully, but it's not already. It's not already. We're on the verge of going to war with North Korea. We're bombing more and more people. I can't even keep up with the amount of death we've caused since Trump took office. In 100 days, how many bombs have we dropped? More than Obama. I know Obama is dropping a good number a day. But how many more people have we killed? It's like we've upped the death numbers. But we're not reporting on it anymore. We're not required to report on it anymore. So who knows? Who knows what we're doing? Right? We're just indiscriminately shooting, murdering people around the world, bombing people for whatever reason. Military's got the keys. You talk about not being violent, but we already are. When your country, here's I used this analogy before, and I just want to go there with you. I just want to. This was the analogy I used. You were walking down a street, and you saw anybody beating the shit out of a kid. What would you do? Would you stop them? Maybe it's not a kid. Maybe it's just somebody else. If you saw somebody who's literally beating the absolute crap out of somebody else, would you do anything? Would you call the police? Would you physically stop them? If you saw somebody taking gasoline and pouring it down the mouth of a child, would you stop them? Would you do anything? Would you walk away? See, right now, our government is murdering people around the world, torturing people around the world. Our local law enforcement is doing the same in North Dakota. They're abusing people, shooting rubber bullets at them, spraying them with frozen water, using LRAD. We have witnessed the brutality of American citizens beyond anything we have ever seen. Yet, we didn't rise to stop. We rose to say, please stop. And then when they came through with their weapons, we backed off. And then we backed off again. And then we backed off again. And we keep backing off and keep backing off. When do we stop backing the fuck off? That's my question. When do you say, I'm not going to let you kill that kid, whether they live in Syria or in Colorado? When? When do we rise with a moral compass and say, I'm going to physically stop you from murdering other people? Because that's really what it's about. We talk about doing this without violence. My God, how do you stop the murderers? How do you stop the violent murderers? You have to physically stop the violent murderers. That's the end that I get to. There's so much violence and so many people engaged in it. We're complacent right now to let what happened at Standing Rock happen. There was not a single good cop that rose to defend. There was not a single group of cops that said, you know what, we're going to stand out there against those cops. That's wholly wrong. Our federal government didn't give a fuck. Our politicians, including Hillary Clinton, didn't give a fuck. All you Hillary supporters out there. I'm sorry. That's just wrong. And I know this harkens back to another time, but there was a time in this country's history where had we seen something like that happen on American soil, we would have gone and shot all those people. Done. And so, I'm just saying. And yeah, Phil, we can talk about that JFK quote, when those in power, prevent peaceful protest, violent protest is what happens. We are not forced. That's all I'm saying. Here's what Germany did that's happy. I'm going to move on to that. Germans switch on the world's largest artificial sun. Because you guys just don't get enough sun, apparently. And you're pissed about it. Do you know that, Markus?
Yeah, in the winter it is very gray and dark most of the time. Not completely night, but it is, it is not nice. Another sun would be great.
It is, yeah. What you guys did was pretty impressive, though. I like this. You took a whole, thousand. Let me just read this. The world's largest artificial sun was switched on last month, illuminating a brighter future for renewable energy. The Synlight facility, as it's called in Germany, in the German Aerospace Center, Institute for Solar Research, in a word I can't pronounce, is a 3-story building containing 149 xenon. What is this? It's like a 3,000 watt increase. They can do a 350 kilowatt array, results in 10,000 times the intensity of the solar radiation at Earth's surface. So they create all this energy. They can generate this energy, and use it to. That's just brilliant without the sun. I thought that was a pretty cool idea. And just to give you an idea of the power of those lamps, one of those arc lamps is what illuminates a movie theater, right? So they light, what is it, 3,000 of them? That's pretty insane. No, 149. That's pretty insane. That's cool. Something happy, had to be happy. By the way, I want to answer this question. It's a very good question. So Melissa H says, so John, should those young black people been attacked at the lunch counters turn violent? You think they would have done wrong? I do not believe that we are in a similar situation today as the civil rights movement. Today we are faced with all of us in danger. Okay. It's not just African Americans. It's all of us. Okay? So, do I think that things would have been better had they gotten violent? Nope. Today, it's not about, I'm trying to say, it's not about, really at first, it's not about things getting better. It's about survival. The question of when will we recognize the system can't be changed? Or will we recognize that we've changed it enough to see a light at the end of the tunnel? I don't see one right now, personally. I don't. Mainly because of what I've seen in climate, which we're running way super late, and I didn't even realize we're way super late because I talked way too much on a whole bunch of stuff that was way heavy. Markus?
Okay. Let me ask you one question. You don't see an end light at the end of the tunnel, right?
Not really, no.
Okay. Bernie obviously does.
Bernie is working on government.
Bernie does not call for violence.
I realize that. I'm all for the peaceful solution. What I'm saying is I don't see us reaching a peaceful solution in time. I think climate is going to cut that. I think that's what everybody is
Okay.
fooled with.
Okay, okay. If your perspective is that you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, doesn't mean there is no light at the end of the tunnel.
Absolutely true. That's absolutely, just because I don't see it doesn't mean it's there. It's not there. You're absolutely right.
And this is why I think it is very dangerous to call up for violence. And I don't think it is clever to do this.
Listen. I'm not calling for it. I'm saying, when will we break down to it? That's
No.
When does it happen?
I'm referring to the black guy, and that someone should beat him up or something like this. You said, right? This is okay. You say you would not do it yourself.
No.
But what if some other guy who watches the show goes the next day, sees this guy, and murders him maybe, and then refers to I saw it on the internet. It's all right.
I know. And then I would feel directly responsible for that, whether he listened to me or not. Right? Then my action by proxy would have clocked the guy in the head. How do I feel about that? Let's see. Let me take a moment. I'm okay with it. Okay? Because all I have to do is remember how long Flint's been with poison water and how long they've been lied to. And I go, you know what? You getting punched in the face doesn't mean shit compared to dead babies. Sorry. We've all been punched in the face. Take one for the team, councilman. Fuck you. That's how I feel about it. Fuck you. Take your bruises. I personally think that some of these people, had they actually experienced some sort of physical harm, might change their mind about things. No, I'm not advocating for violence. I'm just saying it's time we pull down the bullshit whitewash, the bullshit rainbow fairyland cover on these people, on their actions. They talk about peace. They talk about civilization. They talk about how we're being violent. They are the most violent human beings on earth, lying sacks of shit. Yet they tell us to remain calm. They tell us to be peaceful. That's
Yes, I know it is enraging, but I don't see a real solution if someone beats this guy up or.
I just said clock him in the head. I don't want to beat him up. Just one punch. Suck him once.
All right. This is what I want to say.
It could be. It just, again, I'm in a really dark place. I'm expressing how I feel today.
No, I think it is good to talk about this because what makes us unique, because we are talking about our inner feelings, and you present your inner emotions, and I think this is absolutely great, and I think that it's a fruitful discussion and very important, because I think many people feel like you do, and maybe I would feel the same if I was an American and grew up in America, and with your culture, or what you said, with your acceptance of violence,
It's weird. It's maybe so. I wonder what it would have been like to grow up in a country that didn't focus so much on war and violence. I don't know. And listen, I just look. Okay, Melissa, I am advocating for it. If you say when I talk about it and I say I wish it would happen, I advocate for it. Okay, I will accept the responsibility if it happens. Right? That's for whatever that means. This is the conflict that I talk about all the time. That's so hard to get away from. I really feel that this is the conflict of the ages. It comes down to, can we evolve it, or do we have to let it devolve to rebuild it from the ashes? That whole Star Trek First Contact, where the ending is happy, but remember they start after World War III, and that's what it feels like right now. It's what it feels like right now. I express rage and physical, in the want or will to do physical violence, because I feel like our voices and our inability to organize, we've been so squelched. There's just, personally, right now, this is why I'm here right now today. Personally, I feel like it's hopeless. That's where I'm at today. Like we're down to fists, we're down to survival. Just seeing how much shit is going down, how much bullshit is happening, the impending war, where we're at, and the latest information on climate change that tells me we don't have a chance in fucking hell to survive. Civilization is not going to survive climate change, in my opinion, okay? And when you face that, when you accept that by the time I'm 75, this planet will most likely not be habitable, or my food selections will be remarkably limited. The temperature where I live is going to be off the charts. You know, the weather patterns that we have are shifting. Seattle broke record. The first time it's ever broken records on rain. It's off the fucking charts in terms of rain. They've discovered an Amazon side there. Our Arctic masses of ice now have rivers of water flowing off the top of them. We have just discovered that the rise in sea level is far greater. And that number is off the charts, and it's happened faster than scientists predicted. We have no idea what these things are going to do to the planet. We have no idea how that. We are watching the death of Earth happen. And so when wow, that's a giant spider. It's a big spider crawling on my roof right now. Big dude. Anyway, that's where I'm at. That we do this show together, and it's great to talk about the possibilities of Bernie and new government and Democratic ground game, and I'm excited. I'm sure maybe in a couple days I'll be more excited about that. But right now I look at what's happening around the world with climate, what's happening around the world with government, what's happening around the world with the 99%, and I see a complete collapse. And that's what I see. And that's where I'm at today. So, you know, in order to Brahm, in order to curb the amount of pollution we're putting into our atmosphere, the planet is going to drown us. That sounds about right. Yeah, it is. And you know, I know, Melissa, the violence. This whole thing is playing out for me like a weird sci-fi thing, right? In my little fantasy head to try to like keep sane while it goes on. Here, let me put it to you this way. Star Wars, right? The Rebel Alliance versus the evil. How did that revolution go down? I'm just curious, right? Star Trek, same thing. When we look at how we predict our futures, the movies we make about them, you know, I'm just saying that right there, right? I want a peaceful resolution. Human beings generally end up without one, and in this case, what we are fighting against is so huge, so massive, so evil. I don't see the hope in peaceful resolution right now. That's what I'm saying. That's really what I'm trying to tell you guys. And I'm really down about it. I'm really fucking down about it. You know? Just based on what's going on. Sorry, Marcus. I haven't left you much time to talk today.
No. It's absolutely okay. I wouldn't have to add anything important, you know, because for me, it's a complete another world, what you're talking about, you know.
Which one? My heart, my.
No. I mean the violence part, you know.
Oh, I know.
The advocate for violence, because this is nothing. This is nothing what's in my nature, you know.
Of course, I know. You
try
don't
to explain the difference, you know. Maybe if I was American, I would think. I don't know.
I guess I just don't see hope within America. Let me put it that way. I don't see hope within America for a peaceful resolution. Maybe Germany can work one out. Maybe France can work one out. We become so militarized that we have to collapse on ourselves. You know, that's what I see. That's what I fear, right? I told you, and you saw me freak out this morning. I was so freaked out about just the idea of having to defend myself and somebody coming to take us away and all that shit. And my wife still looks at me like I'm insane. I'm like, you know, I'm sure there were a lot of people living in Germany who thought that was insane too until they got hauled away. You know? And it's God, I just wish we were a little more. Hey, Michael Stapleton, if John wants a media company, they're compromised, including not crossing red line. I don't want a media company, Mike. Never did, really. When the revolution started with this, then yeah, that's my goal, is just this. Why do you think I'll never end up working under TYT or anybody like that? It's why do you think I told Ash that this whole endeavor was basically a Zeppelin, and I keep filling it with hydrogen, And I keep watching it explode, and I rebuild it again because people go, we like that balloon. You want to build that balloon again? Let's build that balloon. Help us with. And I go, okay, let's build the balloon again. And then we blow it up again. This is a non-sustainable model. I am a non-sustainable host, right? This show attracts a very small group of nice folks. We all hang out together. We talk. It serves our purpose, and I'm really glad that we're all here together to enjoy it.
Yeah.
But I have no aspirations. I'm not.
You're done, man.
Having talked to TYT, having talked to RT, having talked to these other stations and know how they function and know what's going on there, I have no hope there. You're absolutely right. No interest, no aspiration, no hope there. Okay? So, I'm not worried about it. It was one of the reasons why I kind of backed off and thought, let's produce other people's shit. But I'm not even going to go there on that one. We're just going to leave that one alone. Marcus, why don't you, I'm sorry, everybody, hopefully tomorrow will be a more peppy show. The world probably won't be over and new things will happen. There'll be some good stuff to talk about. I didn't even show you the flying car. If you are a 1%er or you have $1.5 million to blow, there's a flying car that is doing it. It's available and it's pretty badass. And yeah, this is the Jetsons model we've all been looking for. Even looks a little bit like the Jetsons model with the whole bubble kind of shape and stuff. It's pretty fucking cool. But that's really happy stuff. Let's and thank you, Katie. I appreciate that. Yes, I do need a holiday. The only problem is that you can't take holidays when you're awake. I can't. I can't. Tried that in Costa Rica last year and it failed. Anyway, Marcus, and thank you guys. I appreciate that. I don't feel like this was a great show. I feel like this was just me ranting and complaining and feeling down. So
I think it was an emotional, but I think it was okay, you know.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, and just remember, everybody, everything I say is just my opinion. I'm just a dude, and it carries no weight. And yes, if somebody were to take my words and go act on them, I would have to deal with that. That's a burden I would bear, right? Just to bring it back around to something we talked about earlier, Marcus, it's the same weight, not the same weight, I'm sorry, but it's the same concept as a woman having to choose her own actions and why men don't get that right. They don't bear that weight. You know, they don't bear that responsibility, not even by proxy. I appreciate that, you guys. So, Marcus, really, I just gotta get close this. I gotta get out of here. It's just been too much the last few days. Okay, Marcus, set us this acid trip song we got going on here.
No, it's not an acid trip song, John. It's about trilling. And the song is from Kim Foley. I don't know if you guys in America know him.
No.
In Europe, really not. Okay.
Never heard the name. No.
In Europe, he was in the 60s. He was for a short period pretty famous. He had a hit with the song we are going to hear, and he was a very a good songwriter, and he wrote for Kiss, for Slade, Alice Cooper, Chris Christopherson. He produced together with John Cale the Modern Lovers, and he had influence in the punk scene before punk got that popular too.
Oh wow!
And the guest musician on a Frank Zappa on the Freak Out album, and yeah, he has his story in rock music, and unfortunately he died in 2015, I think it was, and he had a long career, and he was producer until he died. And
oh wow!
What we are going to see is the trip, and there is a special video made by someone very creative, and I think both fit together perfectly. And yes, enjoy the day. And John, tomorrow will be another solution. Tomorrow will be a light at the tunnel. And see you tomorrow. And yes.
All right. Let's see if we can find out light for tomorrow. I like that. Thank you, Marcus. Here we go, everybody. Kim Foley, The Trip, with animation by MIK.
Summertime's here, kiddies. and it's time to take a trip. This world's so bad, you feel so sad. You gotta take a trip into a world so glad. A world of frogs and green fountains and flying dogs and silver cats and emerald rats and purple clouds and faceless crowds and walls of glass that never pass and pictures hanging upside down. You won't ask where you are. It's another world. You and your girl and all your friends will all be there. Let's take a trip. TNT, SOS, HOB.